Welcome to Thinking Outside the Soil with your host, Shawnee Alfalfaseed, where we get to talk story and touch on topics about hydroponics and the farmers who grow the crops and creatures we need to eat. Good morning, and hello from Blooming Health Farms, and thank you for being with me on this beautiful day. It is actually the day of the eclipse, April 8th, 2024, and I am out here at the chicken farm just getting finished with my chores in the middle of the day, and I was curious, as much as some of you out there, is what would this eclipse be like for my chickens? So, this is also my first eclipse as a chicken farmer. Wanted to come out here, see what all the hoopla was about. And when I got out here, I got to see the wind had destroyed a lot of things, ripped a hole open in our brooder. Little baby chicks are everywhere in the chicken yard, so I spent quite a while chasing chicks and separating the adults from the little ones. Oh, thankfully there is chicken feed in our chicken crack sprouting mix. And I've got these girls, or rather the adult ones, trained. So I was able to rally them into a different area, and I am over in our caretaker's pasture where they have their goats and their pony Gracie and a prairie dog colony, as I'm seeing is a lot more extensive than I expected it to be. And then while walking around, I got to see that Piper, their female Nigerian, was stuck in the fence again. I think it's like the dozenth time I've pulled her out. Dozenth? Is that a word? That pulled her out of the fence. They have some hog wire on part of their property that's just basically open hog wire, and she can still get her head through it, just barely. And so I've spent the longest time ever right now trying to get her head out of there. And yeah, poor girl. We've got a project for community service kids to do, to keep that goat's head out of the fence for Ethan and Shay. That's going to be coming along their way sometime shortly, because I am sick and tired of trying to get her head out of the fence. She fought me quite a bit today, and it just reminds me of the things that we get to do and gotta do to do what we love. You know, I am out here because I love these feathered ladies. I love all of the sounds, and this is our mission, is to be able to bring these things to people's lives that are either unfamiliar, or they want to be better, or they want to just do. And we are seeing a lot of success so far, especially when you come out to chicken chaos and have to just get things done. I'm only out here by myself. It's my lunch break, and so I was coming out here again to see the eclipse, and I was wondering if my chickens would indeed think it's night now. We're not in the path of totality here in northern Colorado right now, so I don't really expect to see any change at all, or them to notice much. I don't even really feel a change. I can slightly see when I look up in the reflection that the sun is getting close. It is 1 p.m. local time here, mountain time. So we're going to get to see as much of it as we can while we're out here, while we're doing what we need to do to be caretakers of these little ladies. So when I first got sober back in 2017, after I got out of jail, I was living in a sober living home. I was living at the Oxford House. I may have mentioned that in a previous episode. If you haven't heard that, go back and see the ones about me, and I talk a lot more in depth. But while I was living there, I befriended a gentleman, and we were interested in seeing the eclipse. Where we were at in our lives, we were unable to really leave Greeley, Colorado. So we went down to a local park and we gazed up at what was a pretty close to total eclipse for our area. What's really neat is my father was able to go up to Fort Laramie and be in the path of totality and took some fantastic photos of the full eclipse. And I've never seen anything like it up until that point. I mean, when you actually get to see something that you've created or that you've seen your loved ones create, it makes a bigger difference than if you can just Google it or find it somewhere in a library, in a book. And I was blessed that I got to take a look at his photography. I love photography and was a professional portrait photographer up at a ski resort for a while, but never would I have expected me this many years later to be standing in the middle of a field on the north end of Greeley, surrounded by chickens on another Eclipse. We've been out here at Site B for almost a year now, and our flock has grown significantly. We started with 3, and then 30, and now 300, and you can only imagine where I'm going to go next. I love 10x, so it could be indeed 3,000 chickens in total. Now, this property here is not going to support that. However, what we've been doing here is essentially pimping their homestead. We've been making their property better. They being Ethan and Shay, aspired to be homesteaders and began turning their property into their dream. And you can see different projects all over the property that show what they're into and what they want to do and where they are clearly not interested. And as I have been exploring the property, we have been taking advantage of some of these quote-unquote opportunities with these undone projects. And it's allowed us to do some really neat things thus far with minimal resources. It's unfortunate that we have minimal resources, though many of you out there, I'm sure, also are strapped with what you have, and it's likely why you are homesteading or why you are interested in organic egg production, because there is a lucrative opportunity. There's a lot of chances to make good money and deliver good value to those in our areas, in our communities, those who jive with our morals and whatnot. Finding something that gives you security is absolutely important. I know it's something we've been searching for since I began down this path of building out Blooming Health Farms, building this business, building this nonprofit. And let me tell you, it is a challenge to pioneer something. I do not recommend any of you out there try to start a new nonprofit from the ground up, because there are a lot of challenges. One of them being that I, too, am brand new into the world. I'm young. I have an experience that is, well, it's now got quite a bit. But when we began down this path, I had never been a businessman specifically. And that inhibited me from seeing some of the things that I know now, though they say hindsight is 2020. So I can forgive myself for that lack of clarity back then. What I have learned along the way is that you do need to find focus in your endeavors in order to generate an income that can be sustainable, that can drive you forward from day to day. And it's something that I have significantly struggled in as I thought about today and recording an episode for you that I would release, that in only 6 short years I have done a lot more than I could ever imagine, yet I measure myself by my own high expectations and believe that we should be further along in helping more kids and helping more homesteaders than we have so far. In the nonprofit world, much of the paradigm is spent on fundraising and seeking out funding sources like grants or private donations, charity from the community, and those have been some of the things that have kept us moving forward. But in the big context of Blooming Health Farms, they have been peanuts to move our mission forward, and I have often found myself doing quote-unquote odd jobs in order to pay the bills, And in order to just have any sort of financial sanity in my life. The show, Thinking Outside the Soil, piggybacks off of my book, Thinking Outside the Soil. So I have been writing a lot of grants lately, and I have been writing a lot more robust, big federal and larger grant-making grants. And let me tell you, it is a challenge, but it really gives me the opportunity to find that clarity and focus in our business and refine what it means to truly serve those that we want to help. I recently applied for a $560,000 grant, and that's because of our recent success with my kids that have helped grow this chicken farm. We have developed a program which I am calling the Egg to Table program. Right now we are trialing it with a few of our youth to figure out the curriculum both in real time and then to tweak it with their assistants to get more effective instruction, to get them to do some of the hands-on things that will transfer into job skills, that will transfer into life skills. Now, I wrote this grant back in November, and their deciding period took about 4 months, and I got the inevitable, "We are sorry, you asked for too much and are not ready for funding from us." And it hit me in the heart because I had spent a lot of time doing the work to develop the curriculum for trialing and doing all of these things. And it's helped reaffirm that what I'm doing here is important and must move forward. So we've got some really cool things in the work in order to move it forward, in order to bring our mission to fruition as fast as possible, but do it in a way that provides a lot of value as well. So I will tell you about that in an upcoming show, or episode rather, and explore more about how you can get involved with helping Blooming Health Farms beyond just supporting us through buying our chicken feed and getting really great eggs. So that is all I have for us today. I see my chickens are all over, though they have found the manure, so I'm pretty excited about that. Scratch away, ladies. Thank you for being with me on another episode. Take care and have a lovely day.